The twin suns of Zeltrion hung above the great royal arena, casting golden light over thousands of glowing banners. The air trembled with sound, cheers, drums, and the deep hum of alien engines. It was the day of the royal test of strength, the grandest event in 100 years. Every creature from the far reaches of the galaxy had come to witness it. In the highest seat of the royal stand sat Princess Lyra of the Zinari, young, proud, and beautiful in her crystal armor. Her eyes, bright like liquid silver, watched the arena with calm interest. Around her sat the royal council, elders, and generals. Behind her shimmered a massive holographic emblem, the royal sigil that represented her planet's power. The announcer's voice echoed through the arena like thunder. Behold, the final challenge for the title of Royal Protector. Only the strongest shall guard the princess herself. The crowd roared, their voices shaking the air. Down in the arena stood a towering alien warrior, 8 feet tall, his skin dark like obsidian. His name was Commander Zorak, the strongest of the Zinari army. Around his neck hung golden medals from 100 victories. His forearms gripped energy blades that hummed with deadly light. The princess leaned forward slightly. She had seen many champions fall before, but Zorak was different. He was their pride. If he failed, there would be no one left to claim the title. The test began. A portal opened at the center of the arena, glowing blue and alive with strange symbols. From it stepped a figure made of pure light, a guardian of the ancient royal test. The creature's voice was soft yet powerful, echoing inside every mind. To serve the royal blood, one must prove not only strength, but worth. Zorak roared and charged forward. His blades clashed against the glowing figure, sending waves of light across the sand. Sparks flew, dust rose, and the crowd gasped. He struck again and again, faster than the eye could follow. But the guardian did not fall. Instead, it grew brighter with every strike. Suddenly, a pulse of energy threw Zorak across the arena. He crashed into the wall, shaking the ground. The guardian's voice echoed again, calm and cold. You fight with fury, but not with heart. Zorak tried to rise, but the light consumed him. In seconds, the champion was gone, vanished into the blue mist. Silence fell. The audience froze. The princess stood from her seat, her silver hair glinting in the sunlight. Even she could not hide her surprise. Impossible, whispered one of the elders. Even our strongest cannot pass. One by one, the other warriors who had trained their whole lives looked down in shame. None dared to step forward. The royal test had defeated them all. Lyra sat back on her throne, a faint smile playing on her lips, though her eyes were thoughtful. So much strength, she murmured, and yet no one can win. Her guard captain bowed. Your Highness, the test cannot be beaten. It was made by the ancients to judge souls, not muscles. Perhaps it is time to end the trials. But Lyra wasn't ready to end the day. She leaned back, resting her chin on her hand, her mind restless. She was young and curious, unlike the cold leaders around her. The sight of the fallen warriors filled her with both disappointment and amusement. Then her eyes caught something unusual near the corner of the arena. A small human figure was sweeping the floor, quietly, carefully, ignoring the noise of the crowd. He wore a plain gray uniform stained with dust. His name tag read Eli Ward, the janitor. Lyra tilted her head. A human? She said softly. Humans were rare on Zeltrion, weak compared to most alien races. They were often seen as laborers, cleaners, or assistants, never warriors. As she watched, Eli kept working, unaware that royal eyes were upon him. He picked up broken pieces of armor, brushed away the sand, and even bowed slightly toward the arena, as if showing respect to the fallen warriors. Something about his calmness amused the princess. She smiled and said lightly, Maybe we are looking in the wrong place. Even our janitors seem more patient than our soldiers. The court laughed loudly. The sound rolled like thunder through the stands. Encouraged by the laughter, Lyra pointed at Eli and spoke louder, her tone playful. You there, human? Perhaps you wish to try your luck at the royal test. The crowd exploded with laughter again. The poor janitor froze, his broom mid-air. He looked up, shocked, eyes wide, as the princess herself smiled down at him. Me, your highness? He asked quietly, almost whispering. Yes, you, she teased. Come, show us your strength. Maybe the stars will bless you. Eli blushed deeply. He shook his head, clutching his broom like a shield. I'm not a warrior, my lady. I just clean the floors. The laughter grew louder. Even some guards chuckled. But Lyra's eyes softened. Behind the humor, something about his honesty caught her attention. "Relax," she said with a mischievous grin, walking closer to the edge of her throne. "I was only joking." Then, to everyone's surprise, she snapped her fingers. "Come here, human." Eli hesitated, but the guards motioned for him to step forward. Nervously, he walked across the arena floor until he stood below the royal platform. Lyra smiled and reached out playfully, pretending to inspect him. Then, in a moment of childish teasing, she pinched his arm and said with a laugh, "So this is what a human hero feels like." But before anyone could laugh again, a faint blue light flashed where her fingers touched his skin. The crowd gasped. The air turned heavy. Every sensor in the arena started to beep and glow. The royal scientists froze in shock. That light," one whispered. "It only appears during a bond of the ancients." Lyra's smile faded. She looked down at her hand, still glowing faintly with blue energy. Eli stared at her, confused and frightened. He had no idea what was happening. The laughter stopped. The arena fell silent, and in that silence a strange new destiny began to awaken. The blue glow still shimmered faintly between Princess Lyra's fingers and the human janitor's arm. The arena, which moments ago echoed with laughter, now fell into a deep, uneasy silence. Every pair of alien eyes, thousands of them, watched the strange light fade. The crowd whispered softly, voices rippling through the stands like waves. "What is that light? Impossible, it's the royal bond." "But with a human?" Princess Lyra slowly drew back her hand, her face no longer playful. For a moment she forgot the crowd, the throne, the ceremony. All she could see was the faint blue trail glowing on Eli's skin. "Who are you?" she asked softly. Eli looked terrified. I'm just the janitor, Your Highness. I swear I didn't do anything." His voice cracked. He looked like he wanted to disappear. The royal scientists began scanning the air with glowing orbs, muttering rapidly. "Energy signature confirmed." "Identical to the bond of the ancients," one said, trembling. Lyra's guard captain stepped forward, his armor clicking as he moved. "Your Highness, step back. This could be dangerous." But Lyra didn't move. Something deep inside her told her otherwise. The blue light hadn't hurt her. It had felt warm, almost peaceful, like sunlight after a storm. She looked at Eli again. He was shaking, clutching his broom as if it might protect him from all those eyes staring down. His brown hair was messy, his uniform stained, and yet there was something pure about him. "Calm yourself," she said, her voice gentle but firm. "You've done nothing wrong." The crowd didn't seem convinced. Some began shouting angrily. "A human cannot be bonded to the royal line. This is an insult to our traditions." The sound grew louder and louder until Lyra raised her hand. The arena went silent at once. She smiled again, but it was no longer the same teasing smile as before. It carried curiosity and a touch of wonder. "Perhaps the stars are playing a joke on us," she said, her voice echoing through the arena. "A royal bond with a janitor? How strange." The words royal bond sent a shock through everyone present. The bond of the ancients was more than a myth. It was a sacred link between souls. It appeared only once every few centuries, binding two beings as one in energy and spirit. It was said that whoever shared it could not lie to each other, could not harm each other, and would share strength and pain alike. And now, the royal heir of the Zanari had somehow formed that bond with a human cleaner. Lyra laughed softly to break the tension. "Well," she said lightly, "if fate has chosen to amuse itself today, let's see how far the joke goes." She turned to her council and added, "Prepare the royal test again." The council members looked horrified. "Your Highness, you can't mean—" "I do," Lyra interrupted, her voice sharp but calm. "Let the human take the test." The words struck the crowd like lightning. Murmurs, gasps, even laughter followed. Some aliens laughed out loud, thinking she was still joking. Others looked insulted, as if she had mocked their entire tradition. Eli's face went pale. "What? No. I can't take any test. I don't even know what it is." Lyra looked down at him, her silver eyes sparkling with a strange mix of playfulness and mystery. "Don't worry. I doubt the test will hurt you too much." "Too much?" he repeated weakly. She chuckled softly. "Relax, human. You'll be fine. After all, if destiny picked you, maybe there's more to you than a broom." Before Eli could reply, the arena floor began to change. The sand trembled, rising in glowing patterns. The old portal opened again, humming with blue light. The same voice as before echoed in the air, slow, powerful, and ancient. The next challenger has been chosen. The bond shall guide his path. Eli stumbled backward. No, I'm not a warrior. I don't even like fighting. But the ground beneath him glowed, and energy wrapped around his body like invisible ropes. The bond had already chosen him. His fate was sealed. Lyra stepped closer to the edge of her platform, watching the fear in his eyes. Deep down, she felt guilty. She had only meant to tease him, to make the crowd laugh. But now something strange was unfolding, something far bigger than a joke. Still, she couldn't stop herself from smiling. There was something about this human that made her curious beyond reason. Do your best, she said softly, almost kindly. The stars are watching. The guards pulled back as the portal brightened. The crowd shouted, some cheering, others cursing. The light grew stronger, wrapping Eli in a swirling storm of blue and white. Wait, he shouted. At least let me. His words were swallowed by the light. The ground cracked, and the human janitor was gone, pulled into the depths of the royal test. Princess Lyra stood still, staring at the portal that had swallowed him. Her heart beat faster than it ever had before. The council hurried to her side. Your Highness, what have you done? One of them whispered. Lyra's gaze remained fixed on the glowing portal. Her voice was calm but distant. I don't know, she said quietly, but something tells me the real test has just begun. As the light dimmed and silence fell once more, the Princess of Zeltrian felt something she hadn't felt in years, curiosity mixed with fear. Somewhere inside the ancient maze, a simple human janitor had just stepped into a trial that had broken every warrior before him. And this time, the stars themselves seemed to be watching. The glowing light of the portal faded slowly, leaving the arena filled with silence and confusion. The crowd whispered, not sure if what they had seen was real. The human janitor, Eli Ward, was gone, pulled into the same mysterious test that had swallowed every warrior before him. But unlike those mighty fighters, Eli had no armor, no weapon, no training, only fear. Inside the royal test chamber, darkness stretched like an endless tunnel. The floor was made of glowing stone, breathing faint blue light. Strange symbols shimmered under Eli's feet as he stumbled forward, calling out in panic. Hello? His voice echoed, bouncing off invisible walls. I don't belong here. This has to be a mistake. No answer came. Only the slow hum of energy like a sleeping giant waiting to awaken. Then a voice, a deep ancient one, filled the air again. You have been chosen. The bond has spoken. Face the trials of worth. Eli turned around, heart pounding. Chosen, I cleaned floors. I don't face whatever this is. But the chamber didn't care. The air shimmered, and before him appeared the first test. The walls cracked open, and a group of glowing shapes formed. Warrior spirits from ages long past. They carried blades made of light, their eyes burning with fire. Eli stepped back, terrified. Oh no, no, no. You've got the wrong guy. The spirits surrounded him in silence. One swung its blade, missing him by inches. Eli ducked, screamed, and ran, his boots slipping on the shining floor. Outside the portal, Princess Lyra watched the glowing arena screens that showed fragments of what was happening inside. She leaned forward, eyes wide. He's running from the first challenge, she whispered. The court laughed mockingly. He's afraid of his own shadow, one elder sneered. A human cannot survive 5 minutes, but Lyra didn't laugh. Something deep inside her chest felt wrong. The same blue light from before pulsed faintly under her skin. When Eli stumbled and fell inside the maze, she gasped softly, feeling a strange echo of his fear. She touched her arm, frowning. What is this feeling? The scientist bowed nervously. Your Highness, it seems the bond of the ancients is active. His emotions are linked to yours. Lyra froze. So if he dies? The scientist hesitated. You may feel it. Her heart skipped a beat. The thought made her blood run cold. Inside the maze, Eli crouched behind a fallen pillar, breathing hard. His chest ached, his legs trembled. Okay, think. What would a hero do? He muttered. Then he laughed weakly to himself. Right, I'm no hero. He looked at the glowing spirits slowly surrounding him again. He noticed something strange. One of them limped slightly, another dropped its blade halfway. They weren't attacking all at once. It was like they were testing him, not trying to kill him. Maybe they don't want to fight, he whispered. Maybe they're waiting for something. Eli took a deep breath and stood up. His heart was still racing, but he forced himself to walk forward. "Hey," he said softly to the nearest spirit. "I don't want to fight you." The spirit paused. Its eyes dimmed for a second. "I just want to go home," Eli said. "Please." The spirit slowly lowered its blade. Then, to Eli's surprise, it stepped aside, and the others followed. The chamber's walls glowed brighter. The ancient voice returned. "The first test is passed. The weak show mercy when the strong would strike." Outside, the arena gasped, "What?" The council elder shouted. "He didn't even fight." Lyra smiled faintly, whispering, "Maybe that's why he passed." Eli blinked in disbelief. "Wait, that worked?" Before he could relax, the floor beneath him shifted. The second chamber opened, a wide bridge suspended over an endless void. In the center stood a massive stone creature, half machine, half beast. Its eyes burned like suns. Eli groaned. "Oh, great. Level 2. The creature roared, shaking the bridge. Eli fell to his knees, covering his head. "Why does it have to roar?" The voice of the test echoed once more. "The protector must face fear, not flee from it." Eli looked down at the black void below. His legs refused to move. Every instinct screamed for him to run, but there was nowhere to go. He took a shaky breath. "All right, one step at a time." He stood, holding nothing but his broken broom handle. Slowly he walked toward the giant creature. It growled, lowering its head. "I'm scared too," Eli said softly, more to himself than to it. "But I'm not running this time." The creature swung its arm. Eli dove to the side. The bridge shook, nearly breaking apart. He grabbed the edge, hanging over the dark abyss. Outside, Lyra gripped the railing. Her pulse raced. When Eli slipped, she gasped and felt her heart twist painfully. "Get up!" she whispered without meaning to. Inside, Eli heard her voice faintly in his head. He blinked. "Princess?" The bond pulsed again. Strength surged through his body. He pulled himself up barely in time. The creature swung again, but this time Eli ducked and struck the bridge's support chain with his broom handle. The vibration made the monster stumble. He didn't defeat it, he outsmarted it. The creature roared once, then vanished into mist. The voice spoke again. "The second test is passed. Courage without hate. Strength without pride." Eli collapsed to his knees, breathing hard. This is insane. But deep down, something in him had changed. For the first time, he wasn't just a janitor running from danger. He had faced it and survived. Outside, Lyra exhaled slowly, realizing she had been holding her breath the entire time. The council stared at her in silence. "Your Highness," one elder whispered, "the human is passing the trials." Lyra's eyes remained fixed on the glowing portal. A small, almost hopeful smile touched her lips. "Yes," she said softly, "and somehow. I knew he would." The crowd erupted in disbelief, and the legend of the unwilling challenger began to spread across Zeltrian. When the light settled, Eli found himself in a quiet place, no more bridges, monsters, or glowing spirits. Just silence. The air was cool, the ground soft beneath his feet, covered in silver dust that shimmered faintly under an unseen sky. He looked around, confused. There were no walls, no doors, no sound of engines or wind, only the steady beating of his own heart. "Is it over?" he whispered. "Did I pass?" Then that deep ancient voice returned, softer this time. "The body can fight. The mind can endure. But the heart must choose." Eli frowned. "Choose what?" The silver ground rippled like water, and from it rose something unexpected. A small alien child crying. She had tiny wings, torn and broken. Her skin was translucent, glowing faintly, and her tears fell like drops of light. Eli froze. Hey, are you okay?" The little girl didn't answer. She just wept, clutching her leg, which looked badly hurt. Eli knelt beside her, forgetting for a moment that this was part of a deadly test. "It's all right," he said gently. "You're hurt, but I'll help you." He tore a strip from his already ragged uniform and tied it around her leg. The wound shimmered and began to heal slowly. "See?" he said softly. "Better already." The child looked up at him with wide, glowing eyes. "Why?" she asked in a voice like wind. "Why help me? You don't even know what I am." Eli smiled faintly. "Because someone should." For a moment there was silence. Then the ground shifted again. The child vanished, replaced by a tall warrior, the same spirit that had attacked him in the first trial. This time it knelt before him. "Compassion over conquest," the voice said. "Few remember that lesson." Eli stood slowly, uncertain what was happening. So this is the test of the heart? To help others? But before he could ask more, the scene changed again. Now he stood in a ruined village, houses broken, smoke rising, and alien bodies lying on the ground. His chest tightened at the sight. In the middle of the chaos, a heavy door shook as if something inside was trying to get out. "Hello?" Eli called, walking carefully toward it. A weak voice answered from behind the door. "Please, help us." He pushed, but the door was sealed by metal bars. He searched the ground, finding a sharp piece of scrap metal, and started prying it open. His hands bled as the metal cut into his skin, but he didn't stop. When the door finally gave way, two alien figures crawled out, frightened, trembling, covered in dust. One of them looked at him with disbelief. You're human?" Eli nodded, breathing hard. "I guess so. Need a hand?" The figure whispered. "The others didn't help. They left us." Eli looked down at his bleeding hands and smiled weakly. "Well, maybe they forgot what being alive means." The aliens reached out and touched his arm. Their wounds began to glow and fade. The same blue light pulsed between them, the same light that had appeared when Princess Lyra had touched him. Outside, in the royal stands, Lyra gasped. Her arm glowed faintly too. "He's healing them," she whispered. "Through me." The scientist looked terrified. "Your Highness, this bond is growing stronger. It's feeding on your shared emotions." Lyra ignored him. Her silver eyes softened as she watched the human janitor move through the test with quiet kindness. Every warrior before him had come with pride and rage. But this man, this small, trembling human, was showing something the Zenari had long forgotten. Back inside the test, Eli helped the two aliens stand. The world around them began to fade into mist again, leaving him alone once more. The voice of the test spoke again, deeper now, as if approving. "You fix what is broken. You heal what others destroy. The heart that chooses mercy shall not break." Eli looked around, still confused. "So, I'm not supposed to fight anything?" The voice gave no answer. Instead, the silver ground cracked and a new shape began to form, a mirror, but not a normal one. When Eli looked into it, he didn't see his reflection. He saw himself as a child sitting in a dim room on Earth, clutching a photo of his parents. The memory hit him like a wave. He whispered, "No, not this," the voice spoke softly. "The heart's greatest strength is born from its pain." Eli's eyes filled with tears. He reached out toward the image, watching his younger self cry alone in the dark. The loneliness, the hunger, the years of being forgotten. It all came back, and yet he smiled through the tears. That kid survived. I'll survive too. The mirror rippled, and the image of his younger self smiled back. Then the mirror shattered into light, wrapping around him like a warm blanket. Outside, Lyra felt the same warmth spread through her chest. She pressed her hand to her heart, whispering, "He's not just passing the test. He's changing it." The council members stared in disbelief as ancient symbols lit up across the arena walls, symbols that hadn't appeared for 1,000 years. The voice of the test echoed across the planet for all to hear. "The third seal is broken. The heart of the Protector has awakened." Lyra stood, her pulse racing. "The heart of the Protector," she whispered. That legend was supposed to be myth, and somewhere deep inside the glowing maze, Eli looked up at the light fading above him. Confused but unafraid. He didn't know it yet, but his kindness had unlocked something older than any weapon, older than any warrior's power. He had passed the test of the heart, and the galaxy would never be the same again. When Eli opened his eyes, the light around him dimmed. The silver dust of the last chamber vanished, replaced by cold stone and a sky full of swirling darkness. He stood on a narrow platform hanging in the air, surrounded by endless clouds that crackled with blue lightning. He was breathing hard, his hands trembling. "Is this the end?" he whispered. Then came the voice again, no longer distant or cold, but deep and sorrowful, echoing like a heartbeat in the wind. "You have walked the path of courage and mercy. Now you must face the final trial, the weight of your own soul." Eli frowned. "My soul, what does that even mean?" The platform began to shake. A circle of light appeared before him, and from it stepped another Eli. But this one looked different. Stronger, taller, sharper eyes, cleaner clothes. He carried a glowing sword and wore armor that shone like the stars. Eli stared in shock. What are you?" The other Eli smiled faintly. "I am what you could have been. If you had chosen strength over kindness. Eli stepped back. Strength over kindness? Yes, the reflection said. You could have been a hero, a warrior, someone the universe feared. But instead you stayed small. You cleaned floors. You let others walk over you. You never fought back. The words hit like arrows. Eli wanted to shout, but the reflection's voice grew louder. You saved others, yes, but who saved you? You call that courage? Or is it just fear of being alone? Eli clenched his fists. He didn't know what to say. Outside in the royal arena, Princess Lyra watched the final trial begin through the glowing screens. Her hands tightened on the railing. It's showing himself, she whispered. The scientist nodded nervously. The final chamber reads the soul, Your Highness. It shows what lies beneath. Lyra's heart raced. She could feel his confusion, his pain, his fear. Through the bond, their emotions pulsed together like twin flames. Inside the chamber, the reflection raised its sword. You can't protect anyone, it said. Not the princess. Not even yourself. I don't want to fight you, Eli said softly. That's exactly the problem. The reflection shouted. You never want to fight. You never want to win. It charged forward, blade swinging. Eli dove aside, barely avoiding the strike. The ground cracked under the impact, sending sparks of light into the sky. Eli rolled to his knees, gasping. I'm not your enemy. Then why do you keep running? The reflection demanded, its eyes glowing. Why are you afraid of what you could become? Eli looked up at his other self, this perfect, fearless version, and finally whispered, Because if I became you, I wouldn't be me anymore. The reflection hesitated, sword raised midair. Eli stood slowly. His voice was calm now. I'm not strong. I'm not brave. I'm not a hero. But I care. I fix things. I help people. And maybe that's enough. For a moment, everything was silent. The reflection's glowing eyes flickered. Its sword trembled, then lowered. Outside, Lyra felt her eyes sting. She whispered, He's winning, not by strength, but by truth. The reflection looked at Eli with sorrow. Then prove it. Prove that you can protect others even without power. The platform shook again. From the clouds below, a new shape began to rise, massive, ancient, made of stone and energy. It was the guardian of the chamber, the final test. Its voice rumbled like thunder. To protect others, you must surrender yourself. Eli froze. Surrender myself? The guardian's chest opened, revealing a glowing mirror. Inside it was an image. Princess Lyra standing in the arena, surrounded by her people. The energy around her flickered, unstable. The guardian's voice echoed again. Her life is tied to yours. One must fall for the other to rise. Outside, Lyra felt a chill run through her. No, she whispered. He's not supposed to. Eli looked at the glowing mirror. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. He finally understood the meaning of the test. He smiled softly. Guess this is what protectors do. He stepped closer to the light. The reflection of himself, the stronger one, appeared beside him. If you do this, you'll lose everything. Eli nodded. Maybe. But at least she'll live. He placed his hand on the glowing mirror. Instantly, pain shot through his body. Blue light exploded around him and the arena shook violently. Lyra screamed as the bond flared, her own body glowing the same color. Stop! She cried, falling to her knees. But it was too late. The guardian roared and the entire chamber filled with blinding light. Eli's voice echoed faintly through the storm. Tell her. I was never a hero. Just a guy with a broom. Then everything went white. The crowd outside covered their eyes as the arena erupted in light so bright it turned the sky pale. When it finally faded, the portal in the center flickered and collapsed. Smoke filled the air. Silence followed. Is he? Lyra whispered, her voice trembling. Before anyone could answer, the light in the arena floor pulsed once more, and a figure fell from the collapsing portal. Landing hard on the ground, it was Eli, unconscious. His uniform torn, his body glowing faintly blue. The royal sigil, the mark of the protector, shone on his arm. The council gasped. The ancient prophecy had been fulfilled. Lyra ran to him, kneeling beside his still form. She touched his hand and the bond pulsed gently under her skin. He was alive, barely. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, You foolish, wonderful human. The announcer's voice trembled through the speakers. The royal test has been passed. The protector has been chosen. The crowd didn't cheer. They simply watched in awe as their princess cradled the unconscious human janitor, the one who had succeeded where all their warriors had failed. And above them, the stars seemed to shimmer brighter as if the universe itself was watching in silence. The arena was silent. The light from the shattered portal faded slowly, leaving only the hum of energy in the air. Dust floated like golden snowflakes. Princess Lyra knelt beside Eli's still body, her fingers trembling as she touched his cheek. The mark of the Protector's seal glowed faintly on his arm, blue, steady, alive. "He's breathing," she whispered in relief, but her heart still pounded with fear. All around her, the High Council stood frozen, the strongest warriors, the wisest elders, all speechless before the sight of a human janitor glowing with the ancient royal light. At last, the oldest counselor, Elder Varn, stepped forward. His voice shook. "Your Highness, that mark. It has not appeared in 1,000 years." Lyra looked up at him. "Then it's true," she said quietly. The prophecy. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Even the soldiers who had mocked Eli now stared at him in disbelief. "The bond of the ancients has chosen him," said another elder. "He is the one spoken of in the Song of the First Stars." "The Song of the First Stars?" Lyra repeated, confused. The elder nodded gravely. "An old legend passed down through our kind. It says, when the proud forget the heart, the stars will send one small and unseen to remind the mighty what it means to protect." Lyra's silver eyes widened. "A small and unseen human," she whispered. The words sank deep into her heart. All her life she had been told that strength meant dominance, that power meant protection. But Eli, fragile, kind, ordinary, had done what no warrior ever could. He had passed every test without hate. As she thought, the ground below them glowed again. The royal emblem pulsed on the arena floor. Then a new sound filled the air. A low, ancient hum, like a song sung by the planet itself. The royal scientists looked around in panic. "That frequency, it's coming from the vault below the palace." Elder Varn's eyes went wide. "The vault of the Protectors." Lyra stood quickly. "Open it, but your Highness, now," she ordered. Moments later, the ground rumbled. A circle of light formed at the center of the arena, and an ancient stairway rose from beneath. Dust and wind swirled as Lyra descended, her royal guard following behind her. She looked back once at Eli's resting form and whispered, "I'll come back for you." Inside the vault, the air was cool and heavy. The walls were covered in carvings older than any empire, scenes of war, peace, and strange glowing beings standing beside royal figures. In the middle of the vault floated a massive crystal heart. It pulsed faintly, matching the rhythm of Eli's bond mark. The head scientist bowed. "Your Highness, this is the core of the Protector, the energy that connects all royal bonds." Lyra stepped closer, her eyes wide. The crystal glowed brighter as she approached. Her pulse quickened. The blue light in her arm responded. Then the voice of the ancient test spoke again, echoing through the chamber. "The bond is complete. The heart has awakened. The Protector has returned." Lyra froze. "Returned?" Elder Varn lowered his head. "It means the spirit of the first Protector, the one who guarded the first royal bloodline, has been reborn through him." "But he's human," Lyra whispered. "From another world." The elder's eyes were kind but sad. "Perhaps that is why the stars chose him. Our kind grew proud, cruel, and distant. We forgot what it means to care. Only someone untouched by our power could awaken the heart again." Lyra touched the crystal gently. Visions flashed before her eyes, images of an ancient warrior standing beside a princess who looked just like her. "He wasn't Zainari. He was human," her breath caught. "This has happened before." The elder nodded. "And now it happens again." Suddenly the crystal glowed brighter, flooding the chamber with blue light. The voice spoke once more. "The Protector and the heir are bound. When one rises, the other shall ascend. When one falls, both shall fade." Lyra's heart skipped. "Both shall fade," she repeated softly. That meant their lives were now connected. His heartbeat was hers. His pain, hers. Above them in the arena, Eli stirred. His eyes fluttered open. The crowd gasped as he sat up slowly, wincing. He blinked at the endless faces staring down at him. Where am I?" he asked weakly. When he saw Lyra climbing back from the glowing stairway, he tried to stand. "Princess, did I mess up?" She smiled faintly, her eyes wet. "No, Eli. You did what no one else could." He looked around in confusion. "So my past?" Lyra knelt beside him, helping him sit up. "You did more than pass," she said softly. "You changed everything." The crowd erupted in murmurs. Some knelt. Others whispered his name. For the first time in their proud history, the mighty Zinari bowed. Not to a warrior, but to a human janitor. Eli blushed, unsure what to do. Thanks?" he muttered awkwardly, rubbing his neck. Lyra laughed through her tears. "You humble fool," she whispered fondly. The royal council approached, their faces pale with awe. "Your Highness," Elder Varn said, bowing low, "the prophecy has fulfilled itself. The heart of the Protector beats again. He is your guardian, and your destiny." Lyra turned to Eli. He looked tired, confused, and completely unready for what lay ahead. Yet when their eyes met, she saw something she hadn't seen in any warrior. A heart brave enough to love, not just to fight. And deep inside, she knew the truth. This bond wasn't an accident. It was fate, reborn after 1,000 years. As the twin suns rose above the royal city, the light of the new dawn fell on the pair standing side by side, one princess, one human, linked by something older and greater than blood. And far beyond the clouds, in the darkness of space, unseen eyes began to stir. Because somewhere out there, the true reason for the royal test was awakening once more. The twin suns of Zeltrion rose over a changed world. The arena that once echoed with laughter and pride now stood silent, marked by the memory of one event, the day a simple human janitor passed the royal test of strength. In the heart of the royal palace, Eli Ward stood in front of a tall mirror, adjusting the strange armor gifted to him by the Zinari engineers. It shimmered like liquid glass, light and flexible, with blue veins pulsing softly across its surface. He turned his head awkwardly and muttered, "Do I really have to wear this?" A nearby alien attendant bowed. "It is tradition, Protector," Eli sighed. "I used to wear cleaning gloves. This feels too fancy." From behind him came a soft laugh. "You'll get used to it," said Princess Lyra, stepping into the chamber. Her royal robe glowed faintly, matching the blue energy of their bond. When Eli turned, she smiled warmly. "You look like a guardian from the legends." He scratched his neck. "I look like a janitor in shiny armor." Her smile widened. "Maybe that's exactly what our world needs." For a moment, silence hung between them. The bond that connected them pulsed faintly, alive, calm. Lyra could still feel his heartbeat echoing through hers, steady and human. But beneath that peace, she felt something else. A faint tremor in the stars. The royal scientist rushed into the room, bowing deeply. "Your Highness, Protector, there's something you must see." He led them to the observatory tower. The glass dome above opened, revealing the sky. Holographic projectors lit up, showing an image taken by the outer defense satellites. A massive shadow moved among the stars. It wasn't a fleet. It was a single entity, dark, vast, alive. Lyra's expression darkened. "Is that—" The scientist nodded. "The Devourer of Worlds. The same force the first Protector fought to seal away." Eli blinked. "Wait, you're saying that thing eats planets?" "Yes," the scientist said gravely. "And it has awakened." The words settled heavily in the air. For centuries, the royal test had been performed without anyone truly understanding why it existed. Now the truth was clear. It was not a contest of pride. It was a search for the one who could stand against the darkness when it returned. Lyra turned to Eli. The prophecy wasn't about power. It was about preparation. Eli's throat went dry. "So you're saying I was chosen to fight that?" He pointed helplessly at the projection. "I don't even know how to swing a sword properly." Lyra smiled sadly. No one ever does when destiny finds them. Eli rubbed his face, groaning. "This has to be the worst promotion ever." Despite the tension, Lyra laughed, a genuine warm laugh that filled the chamber. But as she stepped closer, her smile softened. "You passed the test not because you were strong," she said gently. "You passed because you cared. Maybe that's the only kind of strength the stars respect." Eli met her eyes. "I don't know if I can protect you from that thing." She placed her hand over his. The blue bond between them flared softly. "You already have," she whispered. "You changed an entire world's heart. Now we'll face the darkness together." Outside, the royal army prepared. The Zinari ships, shaped like silver wings, rose into the sky. Thousands of soldiers saluted the new Protector, a human whose only weapon had once been a broom. As Eli and Lyra stepped onto the command platform, the entire city of Zeltrian bowed in unison. The sight made his stomach twist. He leaned toward Lyra and whispered, "Are they really all doing that for me?" "Yes," she said softly. "Because you reminded them that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it just keeps going." Eli chuckled nervously. "You're better at speeches than I am." "You'll learn," she teased. The sky darkened as the alien fleet took off, moving toward the horizon where the stars shimmered like distant fires. In the distance, the enormous shadow of the Devourer grew larger, its shape like a storm made of teeth and energy. Eli's heart pounded. His hand shook slightly as he looked at it. "If I don't make it, Lyra cut him off." "Don't say that." Her voice trembled, but her eyes held steady. "You are the protector. And she hesitated, am bound to you. Wherever you go, I'll follow." The bond between them glowed brighter, a steady heartbeat of light that could be seen even from the ground below. Eli took a deep breath. "All right then. Let's do this." The fleet engines roared, shaking the heavens. As the ships rose toward the stars, a quiet voice echoed across the royal channel. The ancient voice of the test itself, now part of Eli's very soul. "The protector does not seek battle. He seeks peace. But when the stars cry for help, his heart becomes their shield." Lyra looked at him, her silver eyes reflecting the growing light of the fleet. "You were never just a janitor, Eli Ward," she whispered. "You were always meant to clean something greater, the fear that stains every world." Eli smiled faintly, gripping the controls. "Then let's start scrubbing." The ships broke through the clouds, racing into the dark void where the Devourer waited. Below, the people of Zeltrian watched as two lights, one blue, one silver, soared together into the heavens, and somewhere, in the heart of that endless night, the first spark of a new legend was born, the story of the human protector, the man who cleaned the stars.